Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla, coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And I think today we were pretty good when it comes to keeping my head up high, staying positive. I wasn't really afflicted with, there was nothing that I can really remember that I had to resist. Even, I mean, it was a good day. Nothing bad really happened. Went by fairly quickly. Just a fun, good day. Now maybe that was a reward. It was sort of pre-planning from yesterday, because yesterday there were multiple points where I actually had a lot of, I guess, negative. I mean, I don't really know if negative is like the right term, but a lot of points where there were a lot of friction points where I had to think like, oh right, I'm supposed to react positively to things, and today wasn't like that. I mean, today was just mostly just a good day. I don't know. I think to report on some things, like, I do feel a bit fatigued by my schedule. I think it's kind of affecting me, like I it is a lot, but I'm still going to keep doing it, and I'm trying to stay pretty hopeful about things as well, cuz I don't know, I don't really see why anything needs to change, and I think it's all going to work out. I'm really trying to just keep a better attitude about things, because I think that's very important, and it's something I've struggled with, I think, though, again, it's due to extra awareness, because a lot of people aren't, and it's easier for that. We just talked about this. I mean, it's that ignorance is bliss thing. A lot of people aren't aware of things, so it's easier for them to not be concerned. But I strongly and firmly believe that if other people had the mind that I had, that they would be equally, if not more. I think I hold myself together very well, given what I have to think about, and there are so many things that I'm aware of that other people will just do, and they don't even know that it's a problem. You know what I mean? And maybe there's even something spiritual to that, right? Now, I don't know, because I still think there's a lot of evils and things people should be more familiar with, but I'm trying more to not judge that, and to, yeah, I mean, everybody's on their own journey, and I don't get anywhere. Nobody's changeable. I've seen that, and I've learned that. I just do what I can. I mean, I'm recording content and posting it. I think that's really the best way of reaching people. I don't think people will actually listen to me when it comes to, if I actually know somebody. It's just I don't know, getting into anything is not, it is what it is. But there's a lot to life, and I think about needing to be more successful than others a lot. I don't know why, but it's a core part of me, and it's something I've struggled with because I'm working so late in my life. I could have been working sooner, and I just didn't, because for whatever reason, fate, let's just call it fate, that's kind of the kindest way to put it. But I'm realizing that happiness is more important. It is. And I'm figuring that out, again, more so than most people. Being at my age and as self-sufficient as I am, it's good. It's a good skill. And I think it's important for me to be a little bit more confident, as I've been saying. But yeah, there's not a huge amount to report. There's really not. I don't know. Is this kind of the problem with being happy? Is there's nothing to rant about. There's nothing to rave about. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what I did today. I usually talk about people, but I don't really want to say negative things or be putting negative projections out. I don't know. I don't want to be too repetitive either. I mean, when I talk about these things and I come up with things to say, I want to try to make it not repetitive, but I just think inevitably I just do speak about similar things or similar topics, especially for certain periods of time. That's just what I happen to do. There's a lot of topics I like to continue to get into. I already said this, but I'm still thinking about soft serve ice cream a lot. I don't know why. I'm seriously craving it in a very severe way. And like I said, I already said this, but I'm still feeling it. I'm still craving it. So that's why I'm saying it more. I'm usually don't even like soft serve, but I want to indulge. I want to eat so much of it. You know what I mean? I want to eat so much soft serve. It's crazy. There's like an animal in me coming out. And I've been thinking of pizza too, but not as strongly. Like I'd sacrifice the pizza for some soft serve easily. You know what I mean? So, yeah. It's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have anything profound. I think that's the problem. So I'm happy, and then my skill is gone. I think we can talk. I think we can continue to talk about the way I feel isolated. Oh, well, I thought that person was going to go, but I guess they're not. The way I feel isolated, and something I was thinking today, is how nobody can really give me advice. I kind of feel like nobody has advice for me. Nobody has had that much good advice for me. I guess what my dad said, though, about me really needing to do things for myself was good advice, though. I guess it was. And I don't know. It's not good advice for everybody, but it was fundamentally good advice. Like it's stuff I should have followed. I should have listened to my dad in that regard. But I don't know if it was the right advice. But regardless, if anybody's given me good advice, it's been my dad. I'm talking about people as a whole. It's been very frustrating because I kind of feel like being in my 20s, I have more insight or more advice to give to the adults I talk to. And that's crazy to me. Like that there's not really wisdom. My elders don't have wisdom for me. They don't. Like it's like I have information that they should know. And maybe that's like a good sign. But at the same time, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of unsettling. It's not something that I really want. And I've talked about this before, which is why I was hesitant to talk about it. But I've never wanted that. I mean, I've always wanted to follow the rules and have somebody tell me what I need to do and tell me what I need to know, because presumably somebody who's 50 would know better than me, right? I mean, that's kind of the whole premise. But it just doesn't seem like anybody has any good advice for me, and I think it's because of the way I am. I'm actually ahead of a lot of people emotionally. That's something I didn't realize. Like, I thought I wasn't good emotionally before, and I've realized now that I am. I'm actually so much. I mean, people, the bar is so low. You know what I mean? So there is that. And I don't know, trying to be more at peace with myself. One thing I will say is my regret over the desktop and the Odyssey Ark have grown. So it's becoming more and more apparent that a larger screen is just not really good for you. It's just more blue light. And I enjoy it, but it wasn't a healthy thing. And it is very big and obnoxious, and same with the desktop. It's very big and obnoxious. And I don't think I should have got them. You know, I just don't. So I'm not too happy about it, because that's the most expensive thing I own. And I don't know. Yeah, I'm still going to try to use it, but just weird how I do that kind of stuff. How I can seesaw back and forth like that, you know? I mean, how do you go from something that feels so good, so freeing, it's such a huge hobby of yours, to now it's kind of like, well, I don't even know if I should have got that. Like, I probably should have just stuck with laptop. You know what I mean? I think honestly, this is something I was thinking about today too. I just didn't, I've just not grown enough yet. There's still, growing up that I need to do. That's the truth of it. There's a lot of things that I haven't really rationalized or figured out about myself yet. You know? And so I feel like there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure for me to be an adult. There's a lot of pressure for me to make the right choices and the right decisions. And I bought a lot of stuff I didn't need. You know, and it was a lot of mistakes, right? But it's okay. You know, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know. I just wasn't there yet. And now, in retrospect, I wish I had resisted, but we don't know what I would have done if I did resist and how I would feel right now. Because at the time, it felt impossible to resist. You see what I'm saying? So, I think a lot of things in life are like that. I mean, your brain has to process things and grow, and it just so happened that that's what I had to do. I had to grow and contend with that. You know, that's just what I had to do. And we all go through different things. Some of us, you know, obviously in other departments, I'm already quite mature, but in a lot of ways I'm not. In a lot of ways, I haven't had enough time to figure things out or rationalize things. But I'm getting there, and I think there's something to be said about that, because I'm reaching a conclusion that a lot of people may never reach, really. Realistically, a lot of people never even get to the point I'm at, right? So I'm hoping that in the future now, there's going to be better informed decisions. I'm going to be able to know myself even better and hopefully make some of the more mature decisions. I think it's a lot to do with health and mindful stuff. I didn't even put two and two together, but I'm realizing that the better screens are actually a lot worse for our health. They're so much more captivating, and especially the screen on this 16 Pro Max, it is gorgeous. I mean, the colors and everything, it's just amazing. I mean, I don't even... And so I've gone back to putting the night shift mode on all the time. Not heavily, not the heavy amber, but a light amber. And it sort of tones things down a little bit. You know, it brings things back to earth, right? That's kind of... It makes things look a little more dreary, a little bit more dull, and that's really better. I think it's better for our brains. And so I've learned about this device, the Book's Palma 2. I already mentioned it before, and I've still been scouring eBay. I've saw some alright deals come by, but I didn't bite. I probably should have just bought it, but we're still waiting. I don't know. I probably should have just bought it at this point. And it's the e-ink screens, which obviously e-ink screens look terrible, but the benefit is they're not as disruptive. You know, they don't enthrall you as much, but they're not going to affect your sleep as well as badly or things like that. So there's a lot of merit to that. And it's actually a fairly cheap product. I mean, they're $300 on their website, but then I think they're selling them pre-owned on eBay for like $240, and sometimes they sell for like near $200. The first gen you can easily get for $200 or a little under. I mean, it's such a cheap product, and it's such a healthy product, a healthy way to use technology in a educational way that is not remotely as stimulating as these newer screens, which they're also a lot brighter, and looking at brighter screens is not really good either, which is the thing with the Odyssey Ark, is that's its whole... I mean, it's gorgeous. It's such a bright, beautiful screen. But now I'm realizing there is a health component to that. And I notice it, you know, because when I use that minimal night shift to put the slight amber, but, you know, colors still look accurate, it kind of does take me back to, yeah, like using the iPod 4, using my iPhone 5S back then. Technology was not that engulfing of an experience. You could tell there were imperfections with it. The screen was not that engaging. I mean, especially my iPod 4. It was just very, like, subdued. And the 5S was a huge jump. Easily going from the iPod 4 to the 5S was crazy to me. That was like... everything just looked so much better. I remember that vividly. And then from the 5S to the 7, I wasn't really that impressed. I mean, things were better, but going from the 4 to the 5S was a huge, huge overhaul. And then going from the 7 to the 13 mini, I honestly also did not really think there was too crazy of a difference. And I don't know if that's just my perception not really noticing, but The 13 didn't really seem that much better. But then again, I wonder, like, the 13 Pro, I don't remember when they started doing the OLED screens on the Pros, but that's probably why. Because Apple's stuff used to just be flagship, and then they made it budget, and yeah, so that could probably change things. But now that I see the 16 Pro Max, it's just like, wow. I mean, I don't even know how much better a screen needs to be. Seriously, I don't understand how much better they could make it. So I can only imagine, but again, for our health, this stuff is not good for our health. I mean, it only is going to make, and it has made smartphone addiction so much worse. I don't really think it's something anybody ever talks about. How just the screens, the fact that the screens we have now are so much better makes it so much more addictive, you know? Because when you compare it to my DS Lite from back in the day, I mean, oh, that probably looks horrible in comparison. Or, you know, the 3DS, it's probably difficult for people to even tolerate that now because they're used to such a higher res and such punchier colors. I think there's some people who get used to the OLED Switch, and then the Switch 2 doesn't have OLED, and they're like, you know, which I agree. I actually have the OLED Switch, and yeah, like it looks gorgeous. I haven't even been playing it in a while, though. A lot of that's, I don't even know why I bought it, because it literally just sits around. I probably haven't played it in like a year, literally. It's that crazy. I don't know. I think I just like buying stuff to have it. I just like buying stuff. I don't really get much out of it. It's silly, but I don't know. Tech, I always like tech. But yeah, thinking about that and how I literally think even if you had the same interfaces that we have now, but reduced it back to the iPod 4's screen, I think that like people wouldn't be in as much disarray. Because if the screen was that much smaller and it was that much duller, like, yeah, people would still be addicted. I wonder if duller's a word. That doesn't sound right. It might be more dull. I'm not sure, because it might be like dumber isn't right, and you're supposed to say more dumb, I think. Or am I getting that mixed up with stupider and stupid? Or I don't know I don't even know what I'm doing right now. I'm sounding really dumb. Oh boy. I want to be the language master, and I'm not being sharp right now. But yeah, I genuinely believe that it's a point that doesn't, like, yeah, of course it's also due to speed. Like, it's probably also true that stuff getting faster has negatively impacted the way we interact with tech, of course. But I'm saying, even if things got faster, even if you had TikTok and short form content, which obviously hasn't been good, I still think people would be healthier if we just had those smaller screens and the more dull screens. You know, or like if everybody had e-reader screens, everybody would be so much healthier. And that's what I don't understand. I mean, it's another example of something, and this is an example of me learning something new that I didn't know before. But technically speaking, I think it should just, this is an example where I'm not very free market. I think that e-reader screens should just be the standard. Like, you shouldn't be able to, if we know how addictive these screens are, it just shouldn't be allowed. Like, companies should just have to make e-reader screens, because it just doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Why does it make sense? It's just like a junk food screen. And I can't believe I didn't register before that's what it was. I just liked a better screen. I thought I'm always interested in things being faster and better in technology and kind of keeping up with that. And now I'm sort of like confused. I'm confused because I don't know what's better now. Now it's like, oh, like me having a better screen on my newer phone, that's actually worse for me. It's possible too that the faster CPU is also worse for me too. It might lower my patience with things. You see what I mean? Now the CPU thing is a little bit different because I can use a phone very fast and I get a lot done and I'm very productive, with GPT or with looking things up. I do a lot. So having like a really fast CPU, while it does brain rot a little bit, I really get a little bit out of it for sure. And I kind of want to see like the potential of how far my brain can go. So CPU is a little bit trickier for me to want to restrict. And I still think I'm going to be infatuated with new tech for that reason. And that really was the main reason anyway. I haven't been overly into screens until recently when I decided to treat myself with that Odyssey Ark. I finally wanted to have like a good screen because my whole life I had trash screens, but it turns out I actually had the right idea. And had I had waited and came to this realization, I wouldn't have bought any of that stuff. So I don't know. It is what it is, but it's definitely food for thought. And it's making me question a lot of my future purchases, Like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't really get new tech anytime soon. I'd already promised myself I was going to do that anyways. Like, I wanted to not spend much money for the next 2 years-ish. I mean, maybe I'll cut it a little bit sooner than that, but about 2 years, I want to spend relatively little money. And so that was my main thing, is I'm thinking I'm going to be tempted by tech, but I'm not certain. I'm really not certain. Now, what I wish could be done is just a motherboard upgrade. Like because I don't need any of the other stuff. Like if they made it so they just released, like I have the 16 Pro Max, right? And I could just put the 17 Pro Max's motherboard in there with the new CPU, new RAM, new motherboard, and then just hook up the battery and stuff to it. Because that's all I need. I don't need like a whole new phone. You know what I mean? So I wish something like that was possible because it would probably be a lot cheaper. I mean, I know you might be thinking like, well, that's like the most important part. And yeah, I guess that's fair, but it could be expensive. It probably is. But I'm saying it would still be cheaper and more efficient for me. I'm also very upset that Apple does not let you lower your screen resolution. That is a shame. I don't know why they do that because I think a lot of people would. And there's probably so many people who have and use the iPhone, and it's about 1300 something p. I want to say it's like 1330 on the Pro Max. And there's probably a lot of people who use this phone where that the resolution does not need to be that. It just doesn't. And I'm one of them. Like, it looks pretty, but in so many scenarios, you're not even close enough to your phone where that matters. And that's what doesn't make any sense. Because, like, even now, like, I'm recording the video in the car, I'd easily clock the display down to 720p because there's no reason for it to be running at that high of a resolution. There's like so many things. I mean, anything I do, I would probably just have it on 720p because it would load stuff faster and it would use less battery life. Now, I figured why they do it. It's for scaling reasons. They on Android you can have usually more resolution adjustment, but then there's scaling issues with apps and things like that. Although I don't know how much sense that makes, because I do think Apple still has and maintains lower resolution devices, so I don't really think that's a good excuse. But there's so many people. There's so many people who I'm sure if they switched it to 720p would hardly even notice. Or there's people who would want that, I'm sure. There's no way I'm the only person who wants that. I mean, there's probably a lot of people, even 1080p, who wouldn't really notice. Now, I don't know. I mean, the Pro, a lot of people with the Pro would expect the best. And, I mean, maybe it's understated and a lot of people would just leave it at the full res. Who knows? But I genuinely think a lot of people don't even notice, and it's just totally overkill. I notice, I just don't, it's not necessary for a lot of the things I do, and I would take the extra speed and battery life. And it goes back to this health thing that I was talking about, where honestly there should be regulations, I think, put onto platforms when it comes to resolution. So if you have a very addictive app like TikTok, it probably shouldn't be allowed to run in more than 360p or 480p. You probably just the app should not be able to operate at a high resolution, if that makes sense. Anything that's deemed to be overly addictive. That's just my, I don't know, I think it would potentially help with addiction. But the other thing I wanted to say too is I think the overstimulation is leading us to why we get burnt out. Because when I was younger and the computer was slower and the screen was worse, I was actually, I think, I spent more time on the computer, if that makes any sense. I actually think when I had a worse, when I had my laptop and my laptop monitor, I don't know, I feel like I was able to spend more time. Now, it could have been because I was younger, but something about that, a relatively small screen, and also obviously not a very good screen. It was 1080p, but it was not a good screen back in 2012. It's I don't know. I feel like I was more into doing stuff on it. I think nowadays everybody's just zombed out, just scrolling through feeds, and you have a screen that's way more stimulating. And I think there's a correlation with that. I think that these screens are causing us such extreme dopamine surges. It's causing a short circuit. You know what I mean? And people, nobody thinks about this, but I think that in a lot of ways, if people didn't have as good computers and as punchy, beautiful displays, that people would actually be happier and spend more time on the technology. But addiction, yeah, I don't know that addiction would be eliminated, but it would feel better. Things did feel better back then when things were more primitive. They were better. I remember that, and I think that's the reason why, because your brain is, we're getting hit with such high amounts of dopamine now. It's such a surge. It's like a short circuit. And so I think it leaves a lot of people empty, drained, confused, and zombified, and we weren't like that before. Before, TikTok wasn't a thing, and you watched videos, or there was obviously always things that were unproductive on the internet or with technology, but I think we were able to really pay attention to it more because it was not as stimulating. It was not as does that make sense? I think you have to understand the human brain a little bit. And if you give it such a strong thing, let's say you compare two foods. You have healthy food, you just have regular meat, plain beef. And then you compare it to beef that's been salted and spruced up and you know what I'm saying? And then you're getting a surge, but now your satisfaction might be lower. There's better examples than that. It's like candy. You know what I'm saying? It causes a surge, but it's going to cause your brain boredom and eventually to want to re-engage with the surge. Whereas if you engage with things that are more gradual, it's a healthier cycle to get into because it's chill. You know what I mean? And that's what I think about when I think about TikTok and how draining it is for people and how video games weren't. It was not to the same degree. I mean, I even remember when I was addicted to Wizard 101 and I was putting a ton of time into that, it was great. It wasn't really, I mean, it was still fatiguing, I guess. So I'm not condoning it, but I think it's better than what we have now, which is used to just a huge influx of information being bombarded at you and just feeling drained. And again, it was on worse displays and things like that. I just don't think that's just a being a kid thing. I mean, it could have been, and that is obviously a good point. When I was a kid, I obviously am going to have more fond memories of things. I'm obviously going to be more enthralled by a screen, but I don't really think it's a coincidence. I just genuinely don't. I think there's something to be said about what I'm saying and how I think the worse screens and the slower tech really did give us a healthier addiction because it was a more steady dopamine release. It wasn't, now we're getting dopamine explosions. You know what I mean? It's crazy. And that's causing the zombified state. Now I think I'm more, I can't think of the word. I'm going to say I'm more resilient to it, but I'm more vigilant. I'm more vigilant about my digital hygiene than a lot of people. I limit myself. I purposely, if I'm playing a game, if I'm, I push things aside. I don't just indulge. I think a lot of people just, the second they want to do something, they do it. No, I wait sometimes. You know what I mean? I wait. I take a moment to think about it. And usually, you have to self-regulate. You can't just go on a computer and do everything you want. You have to say, no, I'll do that later. No, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of what I'm saying. And so my brain's pretty good at handling it. And I think I'm fortunate for that. But a lot of people just get overstimulated and destroyed, I think. I don't even know. And it's obviously causing a lot of damage. But it's been schla, and now it's time to buy schla. So, see you, schla.